Welcome back to the Take Home Assignment 2 video series. Now we're going to work on the last and final problem, 13. Starting with 13b. Reminder, we are not worried about the mathematical model on this problem. It is just too long. It's too much work. Okay, so remember, this is the problem where we are trying to assign tellers for a bank, I think. Doesn't really matter. Employee scheduling. And we see, you can see on the screen, I've already gone ahead and provided a template for us. So the input data, demand needed, and how much it costs us to hire a full-time and part-time teller. So I've done things a little differently than how the publisher's solution did it. I'm not sure which one's easier. I think theirs is a little more visually obvious. I think this takes less time. So I guess it's up to you which one you want, the one that's slightly easier to implement or the one that's faster. So that's your decision. So as per usual, I'm just going to put, one for all the start times and then two for the part times, one for the full times, two for the part times, and we'll just see how it works. So keep in mind that a full-time employee works 4 hours, takes a 1 hour break, and then comes back for 3 hours, I think. I'm just going to double check that real quick. I'm going to go with it. Pretty sure that's right. Don't have it in front of me. So pretty sure that's right. So at first, it's actually pretty easy. So the people working in the first hour, hour 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, are of course the ones that started working in that time. And of course, we can add up together the ones that we have starting plus the previous period, because those three before are still working, and we've added on 3 more. And so that should continue for the third hour. So hour 11, we have everyone working from before us plus the new 9. And then finally, we have the new part-times plus the all the full-time employees. So we have all the full-time employees in those 3 times. However, from here it gets a bit more tricky, because as you see, this guy worked 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and now he goes on break. So actually what we have are the sum of these two people and everyone from the previous 4 hours from the part-time workers. And now actually we can fill the second portion. We can fill down for the rest of the day. That'll work just fine. So you'll see that's on the right track. But we do need to make sure we get the correct part here. So in 1 o'clock p.m. is where we left off. So you see that people who started at 9 are on break right now. The next one's a little tricky because this is not right. We don't have anyone starting here, so that can't be it. So actually what we want is we want the people who started at 9 and the people who started at 11, because of course the person who started at 10 is now on break. Similarly, we want the people who started at 9, people who started at 10, they are still working, but the person who started at 11 is on break. But now let's go back and check. So this person works 4 hours, has a break for an hour, and then works 3 more hours. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, break, 1, 2, 3. So this is the last hour where we should have this full-time employee working, which we haven't actually adjusted that yet. So interestingly, everyone's back off break again. Right? No one's on break right now. We have everyone working. Now, of course, we can have this sum here. It's not going to hurt us, or if we want to adjust it, we can. But there are ways to make it automatic. It's not worth it, but you can have this adjust itself. And you can do that for each of these. And again, you don't have to resize the windows like this. You can, but it's certainly not required. And then finally, so let's look at this last guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, goes on break, 1, 2, 3. So we should have just this guy and this guy. Should be the only 2 that are working. I put in an extra parentheses. It didn't like that. Okay, so does that make sense? Those and those, that and that, and then where it starts getting tricky, that plus that. Okay, and then here's the hard part. Those 4, those 4, those 4. I'm looking just at the right side here. Those 3, those 2, that one. Okay, now let's go back up here. Those two, that guy's on break. Those two, that guy's on break. Notice that the person who's on break moves down one at a time. So 9 o'clock person goes on break, 10 o'clock person goes on break, 11 o'clock person goes on break. And then everybody's back. Now the 1 o'clock person, or the 9 o'clock person leaves, 10 o'clock person leaves, and then everybody leaves. Okay. Seems right. So now all we need to do is put in our greater than or equal to's and reference our tellers needed. And then we can just fill this down. Now, there's one more thing. We need to pay different employees by different pay rates. So I need a sum, and you know what, just to make things easy, I'll just sum the whole thing for both. So I've got all of those, which of course is filling in quite a few unnecessary cells, but you know, it's not the worst thing. And then we reference our cost for each employee. And then we take a sum product of the employees we hired and the cost for each. And that gives us a $763 total cost. So I'll pause the video here. I'll start a new one for the solver dialog box in 13C.